So let's just ask a question. What if the whole way we think about helping communities is just fundamentally broken? Today, we're going to dive into a blueprint that completely throws out the old rulebook. It's all about building real, lasting power from the ground up, and it's being pioneered by an organization called the National Community Development Corporation, or NCDC for short.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we've got to look at the broken model that NCDC is trying to fix. Then we'll get into their core vision, unpack the two powerful engines that make it run, one for finance, one for intelligence, and finally, we'll show you how you can actually get involved in this mission.
You know, to really get what NCDC is building, you first have to understand what they're tearing down. And we're talking about the deep, systemic problems with the way nonprofits have traditionally operated. NCDC's founder, James Grace, puts it perfectly. The old way just creates exhausted leaders and a lot of empty gestures. He calls it symbolic participation. You know, where community members get a seat at the table, but they don't get any real power, and in the end, they get nothing to show for it.
So you see, this isn't just about a small adjustment. It's a whole new way of thinking. NCDC is stepping off that hamster wheel of constantly chasing grants, which just leads to burnout. Instead, they're building something based on controlling their own capital, giving members real ownership, real sovereignty, and creating a structure that's actually built to last.
So when you throw out that old broken model, what do you replace it with? Well, that brings us right to NCDC's core vision. And their entire philosophy really rests on two powerful, game-changing ideas, starting with a totally new take on what leadership means.
First up is this concept of the adventure capitalist. Now, this isn't what you might think. It's a new kind of leader, one who gets that the problem in our communities is never a lack of talent. It's the lack of a strong, durable structure that can unleash all that talent. The adventure capitalist is the person who designs and builds that system.
And that leads to the second big idea, which is really the engine driving this whole thing, structural nationalism. It sounds kind of academic, but the concept is simple. It means a community must build its own internal governance and get its own finances in order before it tries to grow. Because without that foundation of control, any progress you make can just be taken away by outside forces.
Okay, a powerful vision is one thing, but you've got to have the fuel to make it go, right? So how do you pay for all this? This is where the NCDC strategy gets really interesting, starting with its financial engine, which basically flips the old nonprofit model upside down.
Yeah, this is the multi-million-dollar question, isn't it? How does a community stop being a passive bystander, waiting for handouts, and become the lead investor in its own future?
And the answer is actually pretty brilliant. It's called the Community Equity Fund. The model is so simple, but so powerful. You get 1,000 community members to join, and each person invests just $25 a month. That might not sound like a lot, but together it creates a serious grassroots equity base. And that equity is what you use as leverage to go get major financing for big projects.
And this isn't just some theory on a whiteboard, it works in the real world. As they say in the NCDC framework, when you walk into a bank with that kind of community buy-in, the bankers grin like hell. Why? Because you've brought them exactly what they need to see, real skin in the game. The entire dynamic changes. You're not asking for charity anymore, you're a serious partner. And listen, we're not talking about funding small-time projects here. This grassroots capital is the key to unlocking some seriously ambitious goals, like the $200 million housing initiative. It's all about securing the basics, the foundation of life for the whole community.
But here's the thing. Money on its own isn't enough. You need intelligence, and that's where NCDC's second engine comes in. The goal is something they call intelligence sovereignty.
So what does that mean? It means AI and digital tools aren't just an add-on or an afterthought. They're baked right into the DNA of the organization. This is all about building ethical authority through radical transparency. Imagine a system where any member, at any time, can see exactly where every dollar is going. That's what they're building. And to get this engine running, NCDC is going straight to the top, targeting strategic grants and partnerships with the biggest names in tech. They're looking at NVIDIA for the raw computing power, OpenAI to certify their own technical workforce, Anthropic to help build ethical AI systems, and Google to help incubate new community-owned startups. And it doesn't stop with big tech. They're also engaging with major players in community finance like LISC and innovative funders like the GitLab Foundation. Each one of these partners is a critical piece of the puzzle.
So we've talked about the problem, the vision, the money, and the technology.
Which brings us to the most crucial part of all: how this all comes together, and more importantly, where you fit in.
Look, the reason CDNC is built to succeed is because it's not just one good idea. It's a complete system. It has a durable structure that's designed to outlast any one person. It has technological integrity that gives the community a level of financial transparency they've never had. And it's guided by battle-tested leadership that knows how to close multi-million-dollar deals.
When you boil it all down, the mission is simple but huge. It's about building an organization that's ethical, that's structurally sound, and that's ready for whatever the future holds. An organization that can truly secure the basics of life for generations to come.
So if this sounds like something you want to be a part of, if you're tired of the old way and you're ready to build something new, then this is your invitation. To learn more, to become a member of the Community Equity Fund, or to look at investment opportunities, go to thencdc.org. That's THENCDC.org. Don't just watch the future happen, go help build it.